All right. Well, good afternoon and welcome. Thanks everyone for being here. My name is Christine Hall. I'm the founder of the MAWB, the Mississauga and Area Women in Business. We're delighted to have you join us today. And we're all, I know, super excited about this topic because we are all salespeople. Whether you like it or not, we are all salespeople. That's why we're in business. And we are going to hear from Laura Jean today, who has a plethora of experience. She's going to give us some tips and tricks and golden nuggets to help us feel more comfortable sharing our sales messages, coming across with ease and authenticity. You know what I'm trying to say there? All right. Before we begin, I'll come back in a moment and give a little introduction, but I just want to mention that we have a few upcoming events this month. We had one already this morning. We had our Galentine's networking breakfast, great breakfast at a wonderful, iconic Mississauga restaurant called Bobby's Hideaway in Streetsville. Our next event will be on February the 21st at our regular location, the Meadowvale Community Center in North Mississauga. And that event is from 9 to 11:30. Love to see you there. And our featured speaker for that event is Susie Beguine. And Susie is the founder of Alpha's Discovery. I think many of you know her. She has, I believe, now 4 locations for her daycare and dozens of employees. She's written a few books, and Susie is going to come on the 20th to talk about how to get started with writing your book and how she went about getting hers published. So that's really exciting. I know that will add to a lot of people's credibility. A lot of us solopreneurs, if we have, can document our genius, our expertise in a book. So that'll be an exciting topic. And then the last day of the month, a bonus day for February this year, February 29th, we'll have our lunchtime speed networking event from 12 until 1:30. Those are great. We've had a lot of people, more than 20, coming out for those events. They're fast-paced. They're a great way to even practice your pitch or practice your intro, your introduction. And I think we've been meeting 6 to 7 and sometimes more than that, ladies, in that 90 minutes. So it's a great way to quickly add some new friends and new connections to your network. Okay, so those are the 2 events coming up this month. Love to see you there. If you have any questions, please let me know. For anyone who's new in the Facebook community or in our MAWB community, mawb.ca/events is where all of our events are posted on our website, where you can register. We always post them as well in our Facebook group. Okay, so you can get at them both ways. Every one of our events does require registration. So please just keep that in mind. And registration takes place on our website at mawb.ca/events. All right, so what are we here for today? We are going to get some golden nuggets. Look at this picture of Laura Jean. I just feel like so much energy, personality. I feel, when I look at her picture, I just feel uplifted. I'm so excited to hear from her today. She's gonna be talking about some tweaks that we can make to our mindset to help us sell more authentically and with ease. I did it that time. And I'm really excited. The more I learn about her and read about her, I just think, wow, there's so much history there. Like many of us have different careers and have taken different avenues, but I'm really excited to have her here. She is a business coach helping entrepreneurial women become more confident and powerful and grow to be CEOs of their own enterprises, growing to 6- and 7-figure businesses. So with no further ado, let's bring on Laura Jean. Woohoo! All right. Awesome. You guys know I'm a little kooky and a little crazy, so like to have a little fun with it. I feel like when we have a little fun, we can break down those barriers, just get a little bit more comfortable and be a little bit more open with one another. So I'm going to stop my share for a moment. I know that Laura Jean's going to come on and she's going to present, but please feel free to share more about your history with us. Let me just go to the control panel here and find you. If anyone has any questions along the way, use your reaction buttons, certainly to, oh, hang on. Sorry. I have to make my screen larger. to see. There we go. There's the option. And oops, 1 second, gals. All right, so you should see the co-host message now, and you should be able to go ahead and share your screen with us, and I will let you know how that works out.
Co-host message, you say?
Okay,
Not
if you
seeing
don't see
that.
it, then you can just go down to the share and just see if you can click on the share button and
Oh,
share.
it looks like I can share screen now.
Fantastic.
So I'm going to go ahead and do that.
Excellent. Thank you.
And I think I can make it bigger. Okay, great. Okay, so that's working, right?
It's working perfectly. Thank you.
Yay. Okay, great. So firstly, I just want to say a big, huge thank you for Christine and all that you do to make the MAWB group great. I am a fairly new mobster and I am loving it. You bring a lot of energy to everything, and I've done the speed networking. I'm trying to get more and more MAWB events in my schedule because it's just amazing. And the group is vibrant and awesome. So anybody who's new to MAWB, yay, it's a great community, and dig in because it's awesome. And I'm an Elevate member. So I very quickly saw the opportunity and dove into, make the most of the membership. So this is me today. This is the 2024 version of me. I'm Laura Jean Bernhardson. I am a business coach and a lifelong entrepreneur, a speaker, and an artist. So like many people, I wear many hats and I love it that way. I'm definitely a multi-passionate entrepreneur. So this was me way back in the beginning. So for a bit of background, this was me in the early 90s at the first photo shoot of my new knitwear brand, Fresh Baked Goods. I was a brand new entrepreneur and fashion designer ready to take on the world. And of course, this was just my friend's kitchen, and we shot this with her 35mm camera. But that was enough to launch my new business, and I was super excited to take on the world. And I'd never had a corporate job, so I'm not that type of entrepreneur. I'm 100% through and through entrepreneur since my entire adult life. I didn't know how to get a corporate job, and the thought of working 9 to 5 really terrified me. So I really had to do things my own way. And I've learned a lot about selling and business along the way. Selling was not something that came naturally to me at all. I was so shy and so nervous and unsure of my business in general that it was really hard for me to talk to anyone who was interested in looking at my sweaters. And in fact, I sold them at a store, which is so great that Kingy Carpenter is here today because it was her store. So she was very instrumental in helping me get going, and I'm forever grateful about that. And it's wonderful that we're still friends and working together on and off over all these years. It's just kind of crazy to even think. But when people would come in and look at the sweater display in her store, I would go hide in the back because I was like terrified to talk to the people about my sweaters, and I would just pray that she would make the sale for me. I had a lot of negative associations with selling, and I suspect that you might too if you're here on this meeting. So you're not alone at all if you feel nervous and awkward about selling. I know with a lot of my clients, it's one of the biggest blocks that we have to get over. So I've worked with many people to help them, to help them do it with ease and authenticity. And, you're not alone. I so get it. So this is the association that many of us have. And I'm curious if you want to put in the chat, like what your thoughts are about him or about what selling feels like, or, just sort of in general where you're at with the selling process. So if you have a second to just put it in the chat, or if you feel comfortable, you can just come off mute and just say it.
I'll just quickly share. I used to think this way before I started in a direct sales business. I used to think I will never sell. I could never be a salesperson. But then I just made this mindset shift that I'm not a seller. I'm an educator. I'm a teacher. I just love to share. And I took that approach with it. It just being there to help someone be better than they are today. And in the meantime, I have a little product here that I'm selling. So that's one shift that definitely helped me. And I'm proud to say that I was a very good direct seller. I had a team at one point before the company shut down of over 200 on my downline. So yeah,
nice.
it is hard though. It is definitely tricky.
It's Okay, so we're getting some here in the chat. It's not so much that I feel pushy. It's more of what exactly do I say to crack that sale? Sleazy salesman vibes going on with the pick. It's so much different with the personal approach. Absolutely. Selling is serving with a purpose-driven business. I agree 100%. He looks slimy, LOL, which was the feel I would get when I first started trying to fight that all the time. So I get all of that. I think that, what a lot of people say is that they feel that they'll be seen as greedy or self-serving or just wanting the money. Often we get in our head too much so that we're focused on that or focused on, God, I need this sale. Is she going to buy? Or all those different things. So I totally get it.
Add to
So
Christine's. Sorry, I wanted to
what's
add
that?
to Christine's. I wanted to add to Christine's comment.
Sure.
And for me, it's the same. It's about giving them something that they need rather than the want. So it's, for me, I'm an image consultant, so it's helping them exude that confidence and having the clothing that's flattering and get out of their comfort zone in the styles and the colors that they wear, because that all encompasses you as a person. And then what you're selling comes part and parcel with it. But the know, like, and trust getting established through your clothing with that confidence helps a lot.
100%. And Samira, you're going to love my presentation because my business was fashion retail. I have tons of fashion examples
Awesome.
in the presentation. So you're going to be like, yep, love it. Got it. Totally.
Fantastic.
That's great. So yeah, I love what you're saying. That's so on. It's so perfect. Okay, great. So that boss that I mentioned, Kingy, who's here today, which is just amazing. She really pushed me to learn to talk to people. And just like people were saying, talk to them about educating them about how I made the sweater, what it's made out of, and so on, and really pushed me to learn to sell. And for some reason, my screen is not advancing. And why is that? How do I get to my, uh-oh. Okay, so in this presentation, I'll shed some light on just what it takes to sell naturally and from a place of true service. So I feel like we talk a lot about selling as service or selling through education or those different things. But for a lot of people, they don't really know exactly what that looks like. So I have lots of examples. And hopefully, even if you're already in the place where you're selling from service, you're going to learn some extra finesse, let's say, or just some extra pointers to get you a little further along. And oh my goodness, why is okay, great. My PowerPoint controls are giving me trouble. So hopefully by the end of this, people, and certainly by the end of practicing these principles, people will love to buy from you and you'll feel so comfortable and confident that you won't even believe it's you closing all those sales. That was certainly the transformation I went through when people started to say to me, oh, you're so good at sales, or, every time I found myself actually confident in the conversation, I couldn't believe it. So, this book, funnily enough, and he is a car salesman, I picked up in a thrift store all those many years ago when I was taking on the process of learning to sell. And he is the world's greatest salesman. He could, sell anything to anyone. And he surprisingly opened my eyes to a lot of, this book was 25 cents. I remember 25 cents. I thought, surely I can gamble that much on seeing if I can learn to sell, from Joe Girard, the world's greatest salesman. And sure enough, he really opened my eyes to some new things about relationship building, about like just so many great tips that really sent me on the path, which I was really surprised about. And so many years and many thousands of sales conversations later, I can pass on some of the best things I have learned. So it doesn't happen overnight. I don't have a magic pill. It is definitely a practice. But if you commit to it and you really take these points in, you'll get better and better with it, each interaction, and feel much calmer and more confident. So firstly, every area of your business is connected like links in the chain. So this is your business, and we'll talk about the areas in a second in more depth, but I'll just introduce them now. So One area is your community or your audience. So that's where you do your market research. That's how well you know your customers and what their pain points are and all those things. There's the financial area of your business. That's, do you have enough cash flow and capital to do the things you want to do? You know, are you hitting your sales goals, like financially healthy? Of course, there's management and operations. So that's like, it could be your team, it could be yourself. Like, what are your processes? How are you making everything happen in your business? Here we have lead generation, which is, we often refer to as marketing. So leads are like potential clients, prospects, and your marketing generates leads for you. And then we have lead conversion, which is what we typically think of where sales happen, which of course is where they close, but there's so many other areas of the business that are at play, and we'll go into more depth with them in a minute. Finally, the last area of your business is client fulfillment. So that's how well you actually fulfill on what you've promised, whether your product works, whether the delivery got there on time, whether it arrived broken, whether your service is great or terrible. That's client fulfillment. And of course, there's you in the middle of all of that. So we're going to start with you. So if you have a negative association with selling, the first thing to work on is your energy around selling. So what kind of energy are you bringing into that sales conversation? You want to look at if you have any prejudgment. And this one is, it's kind of hard to let go of because it's kind of naturally in our brain. But, you know, if you're going into the conversation thinking that woman can't afford it, or she probably hates me, or she probably, you know, you're either judging her or judging yourself or whatever, you know, we make up stories about how things are going to go. And all of those can taint the sales conversation. Of course, if you're bringing desperation or fear, anxiety, defeat, you know, maybe your last 3 sales calls went terrible and you're thinking like, you know, like all of that stuff. And then finally, if you're bringing wimpiness, if you're just ready to back down the minute they say any objection, or you're just so not sure of yourself, you have no confidence, all of those things, you could just be bringing wimpiness to the conversation. So you really want to look at where you're at in terms of what you're bringing to sales conversations to begin with. And when I worked in my business, so my little 90s knitwear business turned into a 3 boutique mini chain, mini fashion empire, in fact, I could say, here in Toronto. And it really was a 7-figure business that was more like a cultural revolution or cultural movement rather than just a business. We had raving fans, we had you know, a real kind of sense of community that we were involved with and so on. So when I trained the many staff over the new years, I wanted them to understand that selling is good. There was no happier customer than the woman who walked out of our store with 3 bags in each hand, full of clothes, like full of clothes that they felt truly amazing in. And they felt grateful for our, Samira, I see you smiling because I know you know. They feel grateful for our patience, our listening, you know, truly gratitude, like smiling ear to ear. And I know this because I was connected to many of them on Facebook, and they would send me a message afterwards and say, you know, one of your store managers helped me out and she was so amazing. Look at all the things I bought. And like she had them spread out on her bed. Like, I know the happiness that great selling brought these people. And so I knew that they were grateful for our patience, our guidance, and our style advice. They were grateful for us listening, like truly listening to their needs and wants. And we were so connected and friendly with our customers. They often hugged us at the end of a shopping spree. I was called like a therapist, a fashion therapist, more than once. I'm sure, Samira, I'm sure you get that too.
Yeah, retail therapist.
Absolutely, totally. So I think it's interesting also because sometimes with this business, I struggled with like my big why. Like I thought, you know, who cares if I sell dresses to people or I sell more dresses or whatever, like how is it changing the world? But it was in those moments where I saw that we made people truly happy and women feel really great about themselves. You know, that was what I really loved about it. So we had fun with our customers. We always shopped with them like they were our best friends. We never had the energy of like, I need this sale or pushing products on them that they don't want. But always having the energy of, even if it takes 3 hours or all day, sometimes I'd say, well, I'm here till 7, so that's fine, however long you take. You know, we would take the time it took to find them the things that they wanted. They could try on everything in the store, and we just wanted to make them feel like $1 million. So whenever I saw a woman coming out of the change room and smiling ear to ear and spinning and twirling in a dress and exclaiming with a huge smile, I never thought I could get away with this. Me wearing hot pink, like I can't believe it, and spinning the skirt out to see how it'll feel when she dances in it, you know, that kind of thing. That's when I knew we were doing a great job of selling through listening and connection. And now I want to get off this slide instead of starting the video over again. Why are the controls so fussy? They weren't like this when I practiced. So let's start a little list here. So we've got some keys to selling with ease and authenticity. So the first is listening, like really truly listening to everything they have to say. Sometimes I'll even ask, like, okay, do I have everything? Or is there more you want to tell me? Or, you know, I really just want to get it, have the customer, the prospect, to get it all out. And there's something magical when people feel listened to. Connection. So that's where it's like shopping with them like they're a best friend, like really looking for the ways that we can have fun doing the thing. And finally, service. So coming from a place of true service. And that's the piece of, you know, it doesn't matter if you take all day to try on everything in the store. That's what I'm here for. So you don't have to just take my word for it. And I'm not, the stores are closed. It's not, this isn't a pitch for the store, but it's really to show that, you know, this is true. Like it really resonated this well with the clients. So this first lady said she makes twice a year pilgrimages from out of province and never leaves empty-handed. And it's absolutely true. She was someone that I was connected with on Facebook, and she'd always send me a message saying she loved what she bought. Here, this second one, one of the comments that I pulled out, the owner was awesome too. Having her share in my excitement of the treasures I was finding made me feel like I was shopping with a girlfriend. So what a great service to offer, having the customer feel like I'm really out to have fun with her and help her find the things that she wants, and she could really feel it. So another area to develop more self-awareness in is your expertise. So let's take a look at that. We often don't realize how much of an expert we are in something because we've been doing it forever, or we're so good at it, it comes naturally. It's a passion for us, and you know, we're really immersed in it. So in developing self-awareness around your expertise, some different areas that you can look at are your personal experience. So if you're someone who, you know, like me, 30 years ago, I was terrible at selling, I was terrified of it, and I learned how to overcome it. So I can look at my personal experience and say, yes, I have expertise in this area. And by the way, a lot of people bristle at the word expert. They feel like, but I'm not an expert. So if you don't like the word expert, you can think specialist, or I have expertise, or something like that. So you can look at your personal experience. You can look at your years in the field. You can look at related training and education, maybe not in that exact thing, but even in my fashion analogy, my related training and education was in fine arts. So I clearly had an eye for color, for things that look, you know, beautiful and that kind of stuff. I wasn't trained in fashion or styling, but I had also just done it all my life. I sewed my own clothes in high school. I loved fashion magazines, so I had a real passion for it. And finally, your passion and commitment. So you can look at how much your passion and commitment really inform your expertise in the area. And this is, you know, developing self-awareness. It's a great thing to journal about. It's a great thing to book a call with a friend of yours and really say, like, I'm trying to figure out my expertise in this area. And they can pull things out often that you can't see. And of course, it is a great thing to work on with a fantastic business coach or other coach. So as an expert, you can, after listening carefully and asking the right questions, you can confidently guide your person towards a solution. And it might not even be the solution they expected or asked for, but since you have the expertise, you can guide, educate, and suggest, and never being pushy, of course. So, oh, I missed one there too, hard and soft skills. And that's so important too, because it may not be directly the thing you offer. So I'll just use Salima because we know she's an image consultant. It might not be necessarily the consulting, of knowing what piece to buy, but the soft skills around developing a relationship with the customer and, you know, really making it easy and understanding them and so on. So that's another area to build a self-awareness around, in, you know, to understand truly what an expert you are. So with this new expertise piece in place, we can revisit the list and add, ask the right questions, guide and educate, and suggest solutions, which didn't come up, did it? Gosh darn it. Well, I did have suggest solutions. So here's another great review that brings up another point. So we called our sales staff style coaches, and we hired people who really wanted to make women feel, to help women feel great about themselves. And we definitely always looked for folks with fashion sense and style naturally, so that they could recommend a belt or how to cuff the pants, or like just how to style the outfit and stuff like that. Then we trained them ongoingly to be even better and more confident in offering style advice and even being able to change directions with the customer. So they might say things like, I know you're looking for a blue dress, and that shows we listen and understand. However, I have this green one that I think would look amazing with your eyes. And I know you mentioned that you're worried about your tummy and your hips, but this style, it's really nicely fitted in the waist and it's just going to float over your hips and tummy. So can I get you to try this one? Again, it's showing more listening and more expertise. I know what color is going to look great on you. I know that this style is going to deal with your body issues that you have fears around. So good selling makes it easy for your customer. It makes things easy for your customer. You want to give people something to say yes to by taking the work out of the situation for them. In our stores, we'd run around and grab more things for them to try or to say no thanks to, like, again, a no pressure thing, but it was like that sort of excitement of like, ooh, I found 4 more that you might like. Here they are. You can take a look at them. So while they're in the change room getting stuff done, we're running around getting the things, getting the next things that they can try, just making it easy and taking the work out of it for them. It's funny, just as I was putting together this presentation, I was earlier that day talking to a client, and we hit on an easy way for her to close her sales calls when people are a yes to her service. So she was finding a bit of a lag in her process when she closed the sale. She'd send them an email asking for the first payment and setting up the first appointment. And sometimes they would, you know, procrastinate and it wouldn't happen. So we went over the text in her email to make sure that it was easy to understand, because confused people or like overwhelmed people will not make a choice. They'll just start ghosting and procrastinating. So we wanted to deal with that. But then we also realized that she could, when there are a verbal yes on the phone, she could say, great, let's set up your first 3 appointments now. So that's just one more step. It takes one more bit of work out of the process for her clients, and it's one less thing for them to worry about later. So, and that's what this review is saying. She saw that, you know, she didn't know anything about fashion. She doesn't like the whole work of trying on things and whatever, but my store manager at the time, she went around and got, you know, pulled things out and made it easy for her to try things on and took the stress out of the process. So often in sales, when we recognize our expertise, we can introduce them to new ideas they never even imagined. When people come to us, it makes their lives easier to be led to a solution rather than having to figure it out themselves. So I remember a time a woman came in looking for black pants. And I asked her if they were for casual wear or work wear. And she replied kind of nervously, well, I've started dating after divorce and I thought I should get new clothes. And I was thinking, dating in black pants, like nothing wrong with it, but I think a dress would be so much more fun. So I kind of playfully asked her, like, could I get you into a dress? And she was like, I haven't worn dresses in years because like I have these body issues and, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I go, well, you know, I have some that I think would look gorgeous on you. And if you have time, I'd love you to try them on. And, you know, she said, okay, I'm willing to give it a try. And I picked out a few and we went to the change room, and guess what she ended up buying and going home with? 4 dresses. And, you know, that's what she ended up wearing on her date. And she was so happy. And I felt like I had really like listened to the underlying need. She wanted to feel confident and sexy and desirable as she went out dating, you know, I guess for the second time or after being divorced and all that. And I just really got it. And she was able to feel amazing. And I felt like I had set her up for, finding the love of her life. So that kind of thing, it allows you to dig under the surface and see, what's really there for people. So I wish there was a magic pill, a simple magic pill I could give you to make selling easy and easy instantly, but there isn't. We've got a long way to go in this presentation, not a long, long way, but definitely a few more points. So one more tip in the area of you, just come from nothing. Don't plan for the sales calls. Don't, evaluate whether the customer is going to buy or not. When you first see her, don't like plan out what you're going to say or think if she does this, I'll do that, or can she afford it? All that stuff. Come from nothing, just be peaceful and zen and full of love and go into the sales call or conversation with an open heart. Why? Because then you can listen and you don't have all the junk going on in your head that makes it about you. When you can just come from nothing and listen and have it all about them, then you can just, make sure you understand it, listen carefully, ask the right questions, and repeat everything back at the end. So I mentioned this before, but I love doing that, especially if it's a bit complex, being like, okay, I got it. So you're, a new entrepreneur, you're starting your business, you're nervous about this and that, you're having a lot of fears about how it's going to go, you want it to work because whatever, really make them understand that you got them. And then, only then, if you have a solution, offer it to them. If they're not the right client for you, just let them know and maybe refer them to a colleague, someone in the community who might be better suited for them. It's just not going to help anyone to take on your wrong clients just because you want the business. Stay true to your vision, work on an aligned business, and the next one who comes along will be a better fit. So let's move into the areas of your business outside of you that create an aligned business that really creates the perfect, attractive path for your ideal clients. It's time for a recap of our points. So we've got listening, connection, and service, asking the right questions, guiding and educating, making it easy for them to say yes. So taking work out of the equation for them. Go beyond what they asked for when needed. So that's the black pants. Maybe you don't need black pants on a date. Maybe you need a sexy red dress. And being okay with not making a sale. So really staying true to your vision. So the next area we're going to look at is your brand. So your brand communicates what your business is about, your core values, your commitment to your customers, and what you do. And it really is all the way through the customer journey. So definitely some people think your brand is your logo and your font and your brand colors, but it's so much more than that. It's the clothes you wear to a networking meeting. It's the language you use. It's how you carry yourself. The words and images that are in your marketing. So it's really everywhere in your business. And if it's not in alignment, it can create a hodgepodge mess, leaving your prospective customer bewildered. So I've met many people at a networking meeting and I thought, oh, they seem kind of cool. And I go and check out their website and it's a complete mismatch. So here's an example of a complete mismatch. If you met me or you saw social media me, and it was like this pink and yellow image on the left, and then you went to my website and you saw that, you'd be like, what? Like I would instantly lose all credibility. So you shouldn't leave the customer having to do the work of figuring out what the heck you do, how to sign up, or what steps they would take, all of that stuff. You just want to make it easy for them to do that. And you do that by having an aligned brand. And also just be your authentic self in your business. I think, of course, it's an authentic, professional and maybe a bit polished version of yourself. But, I think a lot of people feel they have to tone themselves down, or sort of take on a different persona to, fit in or whatever. I know I certainly did. When I started business coaching, I thought I should try and be a bit more serious, and I, really would try and dress a little bit more toned down than my normal self, because I thought, that would be how people would take me seriously. But of course, over time, I realized the exact opposite, that just being myself and letting my personality shine through, it helps me stand out and it just feels a lot better. It's just a lot easier to navigate the world when you're not trying to pretend you're something else. So your marketing is another chance to share your authenticity, your expertise, and your trustworthiness. In my marketing, like even in this presentation, I'm telling stories that let you know I understand, I was once like you, I have a long history in business, so that's trustworthy. And I learned along the way how to get better at selling and better at building a business that makes it easy to sell. So you see how I explain things, you see my, what my goals and commitments to my clients are and what my personality is like to see if we'll buy. Some folks who see this presentation may also be presented with a solution they didn't expect. So somebody might think they just need to work on the selling process, like that exact conversation, but then they realize, oh, okay, there's more to this. If I get these other areas of my business in alignment, then maybe that's what I need too. So I work holistically with business owners, and selling isn't just about selling. Ideally, your prospect or your potential client is being converted by your marketing, or at least partially converted. So whenever I present or write a blog post, I'm sure that a certain percentage of people are thinking, wow, I want to work with her. They're not about to shop around for a business coach. They want me and only me. And I hope maybe you're one of them. So I want my marketing and my networking to line up my ideal clients and repel my non-ideal ones. So if someone had come to this presentation hoping for a magic pill to sell more, like to convince people to buy or to manipulate them into saying yes, let's say, and then they tuned out after the first 5 minutes when they realized it was going to be a lot more work than that, that's fine with me. They wouldn't be my ideal client. So I'm about helping you think like a CEO and build the business of your dreams to really help people and transform their lives. And for me, for my own commitment to me, what I want is to be working with my ideal clients where our working relationship transforms their life. So we're making their business fun. They're able to be joyful in their business and authentically them and really put their personality into their marketing and so on. And of course, make great money. So there's a lot more I could go into, but for the sake of finishing this presentation, we'll wrap up with this. When you really understand your audience or the community that you want to serve, and when you really listen and come up with solutions they want, as well as some they need but didn't even think of, you can pretty much offer them a solution they can't say no to. So it worked with my stores as we stocked dresses with pockets and clothes that fit great and were comfortable and lasted for years and were machine washable, and women could ride their bikes in them. Like that was something we knew that our customers wanted. They wanted to be able to ride their bike. We had a lot of urban sort of downtown commuters who were like just into that lifestyle, and we knew that. So we stocked accordingly. We really knew our customers inside and out, and that was huge in making the sales happen. I often will find myself now on discovery calls saying, I made this program exactly for women like you because I did. The client is left feeling like it's exactly what they're hoping for, which it is, because I've spent thousands of hours immersed in this world, working with women entrepreneurs, networking with them, connecting with them, being friends with them. Like I love this world of helping women entrepreneurs. And I am one, of course. So I started out shy. I know all the feelings that go along with being a woman entrepreneur. I started out shy, scared of selling, scared of pretty much everything to do with business, to tell you the truth. And I had such a passion for having a creative business and a cool lifestyle that, I worked really hard to overcome everything and make my business work. So for someone who started out so afraid of selling, you can imagine how much, we're going to do another recap. So all of the same of those, plus we want aligned branding. We want be yourself, be your authentic self and let your personality shine. We want relatable stories and anecdotes so people understand that you really get what they're going through. And, and now on to the next slide. So for someone so afraid of selling in the beginning, you can understand how much I loved getting this text from one of my coaching clients one night late at night. So she was incredibly worried about not being able to sell it. This was a brand new business. She had never been an entrepreneur before. And she really said, I often will ask them, what's your kryptonite? Like, what's going to take you out of the game? What are you most afraid of? And she said, selling. I'm just worried I'm not going to be able to sell. And I said, don't worry about that. We're going to work on that and it's going to go amazing. So this was month 1. She got her first sale. She had a skeleton of a website, you know, she had just started, but, you know, she really put into action all the things I said and really made it happen. So that's results. She came from corporate, in the financial field, and this business is a dream for her. So for me, it's so fun to be part of helping her have her dream come true. She wants a lifestyle where she can change her client's life through dealing with their financial strategy. Sorry, that's the word I'm looking for, through financial strategy. And she wanted to spend more time with her kids. So the 9 to 9 lifestyle of her financial industry job was just not for her anymore. And she really wanted to have her own business. So I feel like a very proud mama seeing a text like this and being able to see where she's at. So it's all a process. It takes time. This client is a superstar. She's doing amazing. But as I mentioned, her biggest fear was being unable to sell. So now she's 4 months into working with me. Her service is around $5,000 a pop. She's done 15 discovery calls so far, and she's had 10 new clients. So she's closed 10 out of 15 sales. And that is a 67% closure rate, which is just amazing. In fact, yesterday when we talked, she's going to go back to the 5 she didn't close today and send them a Galentine's promo and let them know that they'll have $200 off her onboarding cost if they sign up by like Friday or whatever. So I'm curious to see. I'm sure she'll be sending me a text going, I got 3 new clients or whatever. So she's killing it. And to be able to go from 4 months ago being most afraid of having your business not work because you're afraid to sell, to having a phenomenal 67% closing rate is just amazing. So thank you so much for sticking with me through the presentation. We have time for Q&A, and I'd be happy to answer any questions around selling or anything else that really came up for you around business in this presentation. Anyone who's on here live, I'm offering you, or signed up and is getting the recording, why not? I'm going to offer a free 30-minute strategy session. So just feel free to text me at 647-994-7471 and say that you want to set up your free 30-minute strategy session. And I would also like to know the one piece of advice or the general themes or whatever that resonated with you most about this presentation. And that is that. So a super big thank you to Christine and for setting this up and for the MAWB group in general. And yeah, let's open it up to questions. Christine, you need to unmute.
Oh, sorry. Is
go.
it possible for you to stop the share?
I can, yes.
Yeah,
I gotta figure out.
And I'll send this slide. Actually, hang on one second. Oh, maybe you can send me a picture of that slide. I'll include it in the replay.
I can totally do that.
Yeah, I've
Now
already.
I gotta find the.
I've already
Now I gotta
texted.
find the Zoom. Here we go. Okay.
I've already texted you for my 30-minute strategy session.
Oh my goodness. I am so excited.
In fact, anyone who attended the values session with Carla, I also took her up on her offer and had a great session. And I worked with her to create my values for the MAWB, actually. And I'm really excited to have got her information back and from our talk to put that together and present it to you soon. But yeah, so Laura Jean, I'll include that in with the replay so that anyone who wants to take advantage and didn't see that or didn't get the number right away, you can actually put it in the comment box too. But very cool. Thank you. I'm sure there's lots of questions. So please feel free to unmute yourself and let's pick her brain for 14 more minutes. Or if there was a point she made or a comment she made or an example she presented, if you wanted to her to elaborate on that, or if in your business you would like to get an example from her on how you run your business, please. We've got Julia who has her hand up. Go ahead, Julia.
Hi, yeah, I really liked what you said about not worrying about getting the sale and just, making that person feel really special. That's something I do at the beginning of my strategy calls with people. I start off by not trying to sell. I just say, you know what? So many people these days really feel they're not heard. So you know what? You got 15, we've got 45 minutes, you've got 15. Tell me whatever you need to tell, whatever you want to say. And people really like that.
That's awesome.
I think not being worried about, just being in Zen and just thinking of the best for the client. That's what I always do, is what is the best for them. And
Yeah.
things happen later, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I like that. Just relax.
Awesome. Yeah. And I find, I mean, before when I would try and prepare for something, and come up like with a discovery call for a business coaching client, I might do research on their site and try and figure them out and think like what kind of things they need and, whatever. And it's like, none of that stuff was applicable anyway. What they ended up telling me didn't fit what I had pre-prepared anyway. So it was just a waste of time. And then it had me kind of bringing junk into the conversation. So yeah, being Zen is just, so much easier.
I think it's super important being your true authentic self. I trained as a CPA. I fell into this company, and this company felt way more about my true authentic self, even though all the accounting stuff that I have helps me run a business. But being, if you follow social media, I'm a bit of a goofball out on social media, and it's just who I am. And so I think when you can resonate that message to people, they either like you or they don't, and you know who your people are.
Absolutely. And I think that also reminds me of the repelling the non-ideal clients is like, if someone's not right for me, I want to get rid of them. I want to get them out of the space so that I'm only left with the ones who are going to resonate with me. So it's perfect. You might as well just kind of do that at the start by just being yourself.
I have this quote that I often share with people. I say, you're not everyone's cup of tea, but you're someone's shot of vodka. So just look for those people, right? And the other thing is, if someone is not your people, you could always, if you know someone, you could go change that discussion to, this is the people I help. So if you know these kind of people, it would be great if you could just share my information with them. It just kind of eases things up a bit, I find anyway. Me personally, it helps with the rejection, I guess, maybe just changing it to that way.
Yeah, I hear you. That's great. Yes, it can be awkward going like, oh, you're not my ideal client. So often I use kind of neutral phrases like, yours isn't really the kind of business that I have experience working with. I'm not sure I could bring value, those kinds of things to make it be. And, that might even be covering up like sort of a feeling that like, I don't like their personality and I'm not going to enjoy working with them, or their personality isn't right. But taking it to a more neutral place, right? To be like, I'm just not sure that I could really add value to, or really help you with the things you're looking for. And then sometimes too, I'll be like, because I would like to get a friend of mine a sale, if I can, if I can refer that person to someone I know who deals more specifically with that type of business or that type of personality or whatever, I'll definitely pass it along. So I think Samira put a chat. What are some questions to ask a potential client to better understand their needs and motivation for being in the market? Well, Samira, sorry, I'm getting the name wrong. Salima. I can't see very well. Oh, wait. Yes. Oh, so yes. Okay. So we have Salima and we have Samira. Okay. So I'm not totally losing my marbles. I just have some eyesight problems. So Salima, are you able to come on and flesh it out a little bit? Because it's kind of really theoretical to just talk about general questions, like, because it could be what kind of pants are you looking for, or what kind of real estate licensing do you need, or.
She's a coach. I think she does one-on-one coaching in the holistic. Maybe she had to step away to answer the phone.
Yeah. I just think it's a really, it's a really personal thing. So it's hard for me to come up with just questions off the top of my head, not knowing the industry or, you know, what's happening, but you definitely want to, I mean, sometimes I just start with like, I guess I'll just do like for business coaching. Sometimes I just start with like, so what's going on with your business? And, you know, and then from there, it's just following the thread often. So, you know, then they say like, I'm really frustrated about this. And then often it's, can you expand on that? So you're frustrated about that. What's frustrating you? What's actually happening? So I always like to, I mean, even actually it's funny because this is a perfect example of where people tend to ask questions in the theoretical. And what we really need to get to answers is getting it into specifics. So sometimes people will ask a question that's a bit standoffish, like they don't actually want to share what's going on with them. So they'll be like, what if you're doing something like this and then, you know, it doesn't work out, so you whatever. And I go, can you tell me the circumstance that's happening in your life? So then they go, okay, well, I did an event and I had this much product and I sold this much product, but I don't think I broke even. And I was excited because I made a lot of sales. So then it's like, okay, now we can start looking at, here's how we figure that out. You know, so now it's going to be like the cost of the event, the cost of the product, you know, what, like figuring out whether it was worth it. Like it gives us something to grab onto. So definitely one thing is taking the questions from theoretical to specific. I rarely will engage in a theoretical question because it's like, what's the point? You know, I really want to bring it into the specific so that I can help that person understand their specific situation right then. So that's one potential answer to this question. Also, you know, really looking at beefing out the questions. So again, it's like expand on that. And then the other thing that comes to mind is often I kind of make a note, like I'll pinpoint a certain question. I want them to be able to kind of like get a lot out. So I don't want to interrupt the flow. Sometimes I'll be just like, yeah, just get it out. Like I just want to let you talk. And, but there will be things in there that I want to explore further, or there will be things in there that I can see are based on a misconception or based on something that can be educated about. So I'll make notes of those and then I'll go, I just want to revisit this part where you said whatever, because tell me what's there. What's that all about? And then they'll be like, well, I just don't like social media because, you know, blah, 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 blah. And then I'm like, okay, I totally get that. And we can start educating on how you can approach social media in such a way that it feels authentic or it feels like you're making real connections or something like that. So I hope that's a bit helpful to that question, Salima. Any other questions or comments or anything?
I was gonna ask, as you teach people, what do you teach around the no's? Like when you get those objections and those hard stops, what is a coaching to teach on how to deal with that and not let it shut you down?
So I'm a big fan of data. I love data. And so part of what you can do is look at what the common no's are and then build, you know, the common objections might be, I can't afford it, or I have to talk to my spouse, or, you know, whatever it is. And then planning so that you know how to head them off, how to address them before they even have a chance to bring them up. So one of the things I'm planning to work on coming up is looking at how a lot of people will say, I can't afford business coaching, which I totally get. It's hard to spend money on something that doesn't feel tangible and doesn't feel like, ooh, I'm getting a new machine for my business. So what I'm going to do is create some content around how to think about the cost of business coaching and how it makes sense. And just like, I don't have this fully figured out, but this is my plan to address the I can't afford it objection. So I don't have it figured out, but one thing I was going to look at is like the costs of getting into different fields. So this kind of popped up when my stepdaughter was looking at being a dental hygienist, and we looked at the tuition, and it's like $54,000 plus like other expenses to do with being a dental hygienist, plus I think 3 years of study. And so it's interesting when that is obviously tons of people are going into that field and the average salary is around 90,000, like it's a great field. But we are used to certain careers having a cost of training and learning to get ready for them. But as entrepreneurs, we think, I'll just do it myself. I'll just put some stuff on Instagram and watch some videos on how to get better reach. And then I'll just have I'll just be an entrepreneur and I'll just have my business and I'm going to make 6 figures. And so I want to, so this is an example of something that I want to do to address the objection before I even get into that conversation about it. And then if that comes up, that's something where I can send that person that blog post or whatever and say, you know, and I'll be equipped because I've done the research and I've done the thing. And I go, look, I totally get it. Feels like you can't afford it. And this is, you know, here's where you're at, you know, like, etc. There are costs involved in training and learning and building a career, like, you know.
Laura Jean, just so you know, Donna owns a direct sales company. They sell clothing and they're known for their buttery soft leggings. So just
I figured, I saw that
Yeah.
she's got legs, and I don't know if I've gotten some like, and fun prints, right?
yeah.
Yes, I've gotten some leggings from, I don't know if it was that company or a similar company, but that's what I kind of figured. So what's a common objection that you get, Donna?
Well, they vary. And so my perspective is our field, training our field, that they may be new to this, right? And so those objections are very personal when after you've been doing it for so many years, you kind of get used to it and you get that knowledge base. But as a newbie coming in, and you get super deflated by it, especially in the economy that's happening right now, right? Like those all have impacts on it. So what are those teachable moments that you can say, hey, like this is what you're going to do? And I love the tip about looking for data, because ChatGPT can be our friend with data. That's for sure.
Well, I
Well,
love that too. I'm just going to say, I love that too, because when I was training my people, it's like, you have to expect a no, and no is okay. And it could be just a not now. So keep going. So I also loved when you talked about data and bringing up numbers.
yeah, I'm a huge fan of metrics in a business. You know, when I say you'll learn to think like a CEO, like what I help people do is set up the metrics in their business. So just like with that client that I illustrated, I had asked her previously, what's your closure rate? And she was like, you know what, I haven't been keeping track, but she was able to go back through her calendar and be like, okay. So she sent me through a text and she's like, here's the data, 15 calls, 10 conversions. And I'm like, what? That is amazing.
Yeah, that's huge.
So I think, Donna, for you, it's if what you're looking to do is help your team sell better, you know, this is the process I went through with my store and training my staff, is really looking at what's worked for me to sell that particular product. So you will know your product inside and out. You'll know how to recommend fit. You'll know about washing instructions, you know, the fabrics, like every little bit. And you'll know those conversations where, you know, I had many times in my store when I was like, people would be like, oh, I just have to decide between the 3. And I'd be like, you know, they're really different. Like, can you swing all 3? And they'd be like, maybe 2. And I'd be like, okay, well, this one is, and I'd help them sort it out. I'd be like, this one's good for casual. This one's great for work. This one's such a great color on you. And often, like, just the way I built the conversation, often they'd just be like, you know what, I'm getting all 3. Or they'd get 2, but they were originally deciding for 1. So it's up to you to take your expertise and start creating it as a sales manual for your team so that they can understand all the different situations that are going to approach them and know exactly what to say, and then coach them around their mindset and everything else. So
I love that idea. And I was just going to say, just build a catalog of every objection that you've got from the people in the field. Just open up if you have a private Facebook group, just say, dump every rejection you've ever received in here. Then you can kind of catalog it. And with your head office staff, your marketing staff, maybe you could work on some verbiage around dealing with that objection. But sometimes at least knowing that that is an objection that could come is like, okay, I could get that. So it's not a personal thing, right? Yeah. Anyway, and yeah, ChatGPT could be your friend there too. If you're looking for basic, 1 or 2 line responses to, oh, you can't afford it now? Well, here, keep my card because, there might be a time when you can, or can't afford it, have some friends, get it for free. You know what I mean? Like just giving them those words to use rather than just like, okay, bye, and walking away humiliated.
Yeah, totally. It's 1:01. Oh. Do we have to wrap? I see that Julia's got her hand up though too.
Okay, so it's 101. Can I get a group
That's
photo
okay.
before? And then anyone who does have to leave, I'd like to respect that. Sorry, I was really into this conversation and wasn't keeping track of the time there. So if we could do a quick photo, and anyone who wants to stick around, Laura Jean is offering to hang out for a couple more minutes and answer questions. Those of you who have commitments, I get it, have to leave. So if you want to turn your camera on, that's great. If not, that's okay too. I'll just ask you, I'll just do 1, 2, 3 and smile. And we'll get your pearly whites on there. So 1, 2, 3 and smile. Excellent. Thank you. Thanks for, I'll say formally thank you to Laura Jean for offering off all of her expertise and her fun examples. For anyone who can stick around, please do. For anyone who has to go, have a great day. We're still here for you.
Thanks so much.
Thank
All
you,
right.
everybody.
Julia, what was your question for Laura Jean?
Thank you.
It wasn't so much a question as a comment for people, depending on your industry. If you want to get data, Statistics Canada's website is really good for getting stats on a lot of stuff. Like I have the cost of tobacco average in Canada back to 2002, I think. And if someone gets on the phone and says, well, geez, I'm not sure I really want to buy 2 hypnosis sessions to quit smoking, I could say, well, you want to know what you spent on tobacco so far and since you started smoking? And, it's like, okay, so you started in 2010 to smoke a pack a day. Here's what you've put up in smoke already.
Oh my gosh, what a good example. What a good, they're like $20 a pack now, aren't they? Or something crazy?
In Canada, I've only got data to February of 2022, but I think the average price in the country was 14 something, but that's
Crazy.
average across Canada. So Ontario is probably higher because I think our taxes are higher. But yeah.
That's a great
That's a
example.
great example for overcoming a I can't afford it objection.
Yeah,
Definitely.
like
So-
when someone realizes, my God, I've smoked a down payment for a house, or I've smoked a car.
Mhm.
And Christine,
Crazy.
you should sit down, and maybe you and I forget her name now, the lady who does the leggings. Maybe sit down. Maybe the two of you should get together, write a book on objections, and you're in the direct sales industry. You can probably sell it on Amazon.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, we have someone coming up, talking about writing a book, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm like, okay, but what am I gonna write about?
Now you've got a
When is
topic.
that, Christine? I missed it. When is that? The writing the book.
February 20th.
It's where?
Susie at the Meadowvale Town Center, Meadowvale Community Center, at our regular place.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, it's the 21st. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. It's the 21st. Yeah.
I have to
I
run.
have to say
Christine.
goodbye now.
I hate to present and run, but I do have something coming up right after this. So I have to run and jump on that. And it was just such a pleasure being with all you guys. I'm so happy. And I'm looking forward to those strategy sessions. So I hope I got a lot of texts.
Thank you.
It was
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye,
Christine.
everyone. Have a great
Thank
day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Sorry I missed this morning. I
Oh,
was
no
just,
worries.
yeah.
You know
I
what? You
just
can't be
was-
everywhere and do everything.
I
So
was working till 2:30 a.m. and I was just exhausted and not feeling good at that time. So, and I had a 10 o'clock meeting. So I said, okay, I can't do both.
thanks so much for
Thank you.
joining us.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank
great day.
Bye.
Bye.